Hello and welcome. The show is hashtag. Like I say always, it is not a gimmick. That's the name of the show. It means this is where you get all things trending, especially on X. My name is Vivian. I got my co-uncle, Ikechukwu. Hello, sir.
Good evening, Vivian.
How you doing?
Good evening to our viewers. It's so good. You look very good. I love this address.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I keep saying it. I love the haircut. And you know what? We are counting down to the midweek edition of hashtag.
Yes. Today's Tuesday, right?
Today is Tuesday.
And the 1st of July. Happy New
Oh my
Month.
God!
I beat it to it again.
You beat me to it. I'm going to equalize.
2-0.
Oh wow.
You're not coming
Happy New Month and Happy New Month to every single person watching right now. May this month be awesome for us all. Amen. Aren't you going to say amen?
You say?
Oh gosh. All right, the first hashtag for today, guys, is Cctv. Are you scratching your head and wondering hashtag Cctv? Yeah, it's trending because the River State Sole Administrator, Ibokete Ibas, Vice Admiral retired, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas retired, has said, really, guys, approved 24 billion naira for me to install CCTV cameras, not on the streets leading to the Lagos, to the River State House of Assembly or to the River State Government House or to multiple streets in River State, but just only in the Government House. So the House of Representatives just yesterday criticized this, queried it, and said this is excessive, and they gave him a 48-hour ultimatum actually to come and explain himself. Not just on that though, they said there were so many other frivolous items on the 1.8 trillion naira budget for someone who some people say is on his way out. Do you think he's on his way out though? Answer.
Simple, Bara.
No, the sole administrator. Answer that question.
It's very possible it's on his way. I mean, we've seen the peace talk and it seems like it's already a done deal.
Yeah.
So definitely the government, Fubara's government needs to come back to power. So yes, it's very much.
So what's the point? What do you think he's doing all of these things for? To leave a legacy? Or
is
what?
it Ibas?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, right, you're actually focusing on Ibas. Ibas is actually not the main character here, actually.
The plot thickens.
Yes, the thing is, election is actually coming, and election requires funding.
Yeah.
Right. And the people whose interest Ibas is serving are actually the ones who is actually running this whole show. And I'll tell you this, right?
Do you want to name names?
Well, I mean, the wikis of this world, the people who owns River State, according to him, Wiki actually once said that River State is his base, and if you cut a man from his base, the man becomes politically irrelevant.
So you think he's playing to the tune of his taskmasters minus Sim Fubara?
Absolutely. See, this is what I'm going to say, right? You remember the off your mic incident?
Yeah.
Right. This is how it's going to play out at the end of the day, because the truth is, the House of Rep is the Speaker of House of Rep, Tajudeen Abbas, is definitely loyal to the government of the day, the ruling party, and Wike is actually playing a soft ball for the ruling party to help them come back to power. And I don't know how this whole thing is going to happen, but nobody's going to go.
But it's out there already, and people are reacting.
Is this the first time things go out there?
Let me take you to X though, just for emphasis, so you see how people are reacting to this particular hashtag. The first one, let's take a look at it, is this one now, put up by the Vanguard newspapers. Rivers reps query 24 billion naira CCTV allocation, issue 48-hour ultimatum over budget details. There's another one for emphasis. Let's take a look at it. So, what Hackett people says, you have 48 hours to explain the 24 billion naira allocated to install CCTV in River State Government House. House of Representatives tell Sole Administrator, Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas. Now there is an interesting reaction from the most unlikely quarter, Loretta Onochie. Remember her? Former spokesperson for former President Muhammadu Buhari, spokesperson on social media, right? Yes, Loretta Onochie. She says, River State budget 24 billion naira for CCTV cameras. Looting was under the table many years ago. Now that mostly hungry people are in authority, it's now openly done with impunity. This is weighty.
The impunity is not yet cemented. As regards this case, other cases, yes, you've seen it. I mean, it's brazen, in fact. But for this case, right, impunity will be cemented when this case is completely done. And I mean, the EFCC will not do anything here. They have no business here. You know, this is very much the House of Rep. And they are going to set up a committee where a group of men will sit down and drink tea. And at the end of the day, they'll shake hands. Perhaps they'll say, money no loss, like Fela said in the song. But the truth is, forget this is done.
Now, guys, take note that he's making assumptions. He's just predicting, right? He's saying this is what's going to happen. So fingers are crossed.
Absolutely.
To see whether what you just prophesied is going to happen or not. But let's talk about Loretta Onache. She's someone who's been shrouded in a lot of controversy.
Yes.
You do know that she was also once chairman NDDC board? Yeah. And one of the courts in the land actually said you cannot appoint people and you cannot do anything for a period of time. The president also, then President Muhammadu Buhari, her boss, had nominated her for a position, really, in the electoral umpire, you know, governing council. And people rejected and she didn't get it. So some people are saying she does not have the moral
standing
to say what she just said.
Okay, so
is that right?
These are the sort
I don't think it's right, though.
These are the sort of things that will happen in a very bad group, that even the baddest of the baddest, they will say, no, this is excessive, right? She might not actually be reacting based off, you know, this thing you did is bad, but because this is too unreasonable. Yeah, you can steal
it's mind-boggling.
You can steal 100 billion naira, you know, but then let the reason behind your stealing make sense. How can you?
Yeah, but since when can you steal 100 billion naira and it will make sense because you have a good excuse?
Since you ask since when, right? Let me tell you when that sense is. Since when, you know, the law does not hold sway. Since when the law is selective at dealing with criminals. Since when, you know, if you're a big man in the society, the law will just pat your back and say, hey, go and sin no more. Since when you join the APC and it's a case of, you know, all your sins have been forgiven.
Okay, I get the message. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you're saying Loretta is now reacting because this is mind-boggling.
This is unreasonable. You just can't place it because, I mean, we all know how much, you know, a CCTV camera is cost. Let's say one camera costs as much as 10 million naira. Let's even say, and now let's do the math. You're supposed to buy, you know, 100 CCTV camera for the entire building, or 200. And we're talking about 24 billion.
And I'm thinking, is there like no kind of surveillance already before he came on board?
These are the big questions, right? These are the big questions. So the thing is, how can a government house be empty? How can a government house be existing without the CCTV camera? You understand it, right?
But what if though? What if that's the case?
What if what?
What if there is no kind of surveillance?
All right, so...
And because, you know, because of his background, don't look at me like that. I'm just, you know, trying to come from a different angle. And because
what
of
his
background as
we're not talking about the office of the principal of a secondary school in a bush.
You're talking about...
We're talking about the number one...
The residence of the governor.
The place that's supposed to be the most secured
house in this. Why is he doing this? Probably because the ones that were installed previously have gone faulty. I'm trying to wrap my head around this whole thing, you know.
Where there's no law, there's no offense here.
Ah, that's big, right?
And when the law is toothless, it's even worse.
Like a toothless bulldog.
Absolutely.
Now, the thing is, the House of Reps has given him a 48-hour ultimatum, meaning he's going to be replying shortly. Now, you know how we do it? There's always a follow-up, right? If he replies or when he replies, we're going to keep you posted. We move on now to the next hashtag. I heard you swallow or taking a deep breath. Do you want to say something more before we move on?
Well, I was just about saying, you know, we saw this happen in the Tompolo case. I told you here that, hey, this is no case. And for me, this is no case.
It's a no case
This is no case.
All right. We move on to the next hashtag, and this one totally wipes the smile off of your face, right? The news just broke, and we have a number of publications that are talking about it. I'm going to show to you in a short while the tweets and then the video of a Nigerian caregiver who was caught maltreating her patient. Who does that? And this didn't happen in Nigeria. It happened in the UK. Now, she was caught on CCTV, the same CCTV we just talked about. Now, this is a private residence. She was caught on CCTV malhandling this elderly man, 88-year-old, and the son of her patient was the one that took this case up She's been sentenced by a court in the UK, and you know she's serving her sentence already. And the gist just broke in Nigeria, even though this particular incident happened some months ago. Let me take you to X, so you take a look at the tweet, and then I'll play you the video. And of course, the credit is going to go to Daily Mail UK for putting up that particular video. So the Vanguard newspapers put up this, says UK-based Nigerian caregiver jailed for manhandling 88-year-old man. A Nigerian caregiver, Bilikisu Olagunju, was caught on hidden camera violently mistreating a frail 88-year-old dementia patient in his UK home just a day before he was found unresponsive and later died in hospital. Just for emphasis though, Linda Ikeji also put this up. And now the Vanguard put up the video as well. No, let's take a look at the Linda Ikeji tweet before the video. Thank you. The Vanguard is giving credit to Daily Mail UK, but Linda Ikeji also has a tweet in this regard. I want to take a look at it from another angle. That's the picture of the nurse there. And Linda Ikeji blog says, Nigerian carer Bilikisu Olagunju was caught on CCTV abusing 88-year-old dementia patient John Attard days before he died. That's the name of the deceased. I wanted us to get that. Now, Linda Ikeji blog goes on to say she got a suspended 6-week sentence, which the victim's son called an insult. Ikechiko, I want for you to take note of that. We're going to discuss the sentence. She got 6-week sentence, which the victim is calling an insult. Take a look at the video.
Yes. Stand up! If you hurt me, don't hurt me, I'll call the police. Yeah. Stand up. Stand up.
This is so heartbreaking. It's difficult for me to watch. It's painful. It's difficult. This is not something I want to watch twice. This happened in 2022, but the sentence was just handed out to the nurse. And the sentence is 6-week suspension, or 6-week sentence. She's going to be cooling her feet in jail for 6 weeks. And then it's just a short amount of time she's been suspended from her practice, meaning she can go back after she serves her suspension. And the son of the victim is calling the sentence an insult. Ikechukwu. There are reactions to this. I'm going to be putting them up in a short while. But let's talk about this a little bit. Gosh!
Well,
it almost leaves you speechless.
Yes, because I was trying to be very careful with what I say. As much as I understand, you know, that...
that's not an easy job.
Yes.
But then...
As much as I understand that, you know, on the other side, being, you know, related to the man, you tend to feel very irritated, and this is more like a violation.
Hot.
A man, yes, manhandling.
That's
and
a human being, yeah.
But I think that's justice. 6 weeks is fair.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's 6 weeks is fair.
Why?
She manhandling him, but she didn't physically hit him at any point.
Gosh.
So, that's why I said...
But you saw her dragging him.
It doesn't... Yeah, I understand that too. But you see, when something happens, right? For example, you know, you fight with someone and then you end up stabbing the person and then the person dies.
Do you know she was paid to do this? This is a job.
Yeah,
she's a caregiver.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's her vocation. She was paid to care for this person.
Yeah, but looking at the video, right? If you look at it carefully without emotions, as you know, you understand that yes, she went a little bit out of her line by dragging him. Yes, that's what I would say. But she didn't physically attack this man. We have to be very honest.
That's an attack. And
no, that's not an attack.
Let's go on.
That's not an attack.
Let's go on now.
See, Viv, right? He died. That's why this
One day after.
Yes, that's why we are having this conversation. If he had stayed alive to this point, this story or this incident would still have been the same thing.
You know how
can we tie this?
Do you know how rape has been redefined as not just when you forcefully, take advantage of a woman or something? When you just do it against when you do it against her consent, even if she's your wife, it's called rape.
Yeah, I understand.
So this falls under an attack.
See,
but
I'm not saying it's not an attack. I'm saying
that's what you just said.
No. I said he didn't physically abuse.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Of course, he dragged the man. So yes, we can look at it that she actually went out of the ethics of her job, right? I agree with that. But 6 weeks, I think it's fair. It's a fair judgment.
And just to qualify this conversation, nobody has the right to come criticize her. Right, because you see, if you are in her shoes, you probably would have done worse.
See again,
yes, but we are just having a discussion.
Viv.
Like humanity. Where is empathy? Where is?
I've seen lawyers handle cases. That's why when I first saw it, the first thing that came into my head was, you know what, you have to be very careful. Take away the emotional part of it and understand that, because if what she did, if their autopsy, or the coroners revealed that the incident,
the manhandling was what led to his death.
Yes, that
would have gotten
exactly. But it's obviously not part of it.
And I'm sure that is why it took so long. That happened in
yes, they
had to do due diligence.
Exactly my point. So that's why I said, I looked at it again, and this is exactly how they will look at it again in court. And so yes, she actually violated the ethics of her job, but this does not amount to what led to his death, and that's it. Because that action would have given her 6 weeks suspension, regardless if he had died or not. Right, so they try to separate the fact that he died. So there's no case of manslaughter, there's no case of murder, there's no case of premeditated murder, so no case of sort. So what they dealt with strictly is the violation of his officer.
And if you go to the Bible, the Lord will say, "He who has no sin should throw the first stone." But let's go to X and find out how people are reacting to this very, painful video. So this is coming from Brown Chill, and it says, "This is wrong on all levels. We understand it's a tough job too, but when you make a decision to do something, you do it well or don't do it at all. If she knew this was going to be too much for her, she shouldn't have gone into the profession entirely. Why dehumanize people? $1 billion question." Abdul Kadir ABD Kabiro or Lamilekon says she should be dealt with. This is rubbish. She applied for the job and not forced on her. More reactions. GOD says in Nigeria they are so rude and arrogant, but abroad pretend to be humble because they are desperate desperate to earn dollars, you mean to say. I even know of a discontented bank HOPs earning over $500,000, that's 500K monthly, and the person resigned to travel abroad just to start doing rubbish works. Well, don't call it rubbish work, really. So maybe just to do, this kind of job. And he's saying they wouldn't even do it in Nigeria. Let's take a look at more reactions, really. The Vanguard, too. These people now are reacting to this particular hashtag on the Vanguard. And Ufot Afia says, healthcare is not for everybody. I agree. Avoid that job if you lack empathy and have temperament issues, because service users will push you to your tolerance threshold. Christian Banji says, this is the type of job many are doing, Thanksgiving and testimony for, after spending huge amount of money to learn it and travel for. Now, wow for us as a nation. And then lastly, Adimola says, well deserved. If you can't do a job, reject it. I just go with Adimola. If you cannot do a job, just reject it outrightly.
Again,
this thing about vocation, you should know what you are suited for.
True, very well. But again, right, lastly, I agree with everything they said, if she can't do the job. Again, another thing they probably checked was her history in the job. If she's got this sort of behavior.
Whether there was precedent.
So perhaps something happened prior that day.
Let's not make assumptions.
No, I'm not making an assumption. I'm just saying.
No, we just saw what happened.
No, what I'm saying is this, right? The reaction she's giving off, right? Actually, something might have led to it that's making her, not from the man. Not from the man.
That's what you're thinking. You're saying maybe this is a transfer of aggression. But the thing is, this is a difficult case. Now, remember that according to Linda Ikeji, the man was suffering from dementia.
Yeah.
Now, the bottom line is, it's a tough job. If you're not called to do it, please don't do it.
Even the best.
So you don't dehumanize the person you're caring
for.
I mean, it's a paradox. You're called a caregiver, right? There's a reason for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you. And what she did is very, very, very bad.
Well, I don't know what else to say regarding this particular one, but so let's just let it lie there. And the next hashtag is Atiku, hashtag Atiku. So the former vice president is trending again. It looks like, Ikechukwu, there's no day that Atiku does not trend. But this time around, somebody put up an update as regards the doings of the coalition, and we saw Vice President Atiku Abubakar as well as Lamido Sule, who's been very vocal and said if the coalition invites him, he's going to come. It looks like it happened, and he's in this particular meeting with the former Vice President as well as some other high-profile Northerners. Now, I'm going to take you to X, put up the tweet, and then I have a video to this regard. So Abdul Aziz Naibil Abubakar says, coalition update. Atiku, Sule Lamido, and other PDP leaders are currently holding a meeting in Abuja. He put up this video, credit goes to him. Take a look.
Table of early arrival.
All right. So there you go. It looks like it's not just a meeting of Northerners alone. You have, it's a PDP thingy. Ikechukwu, in a short while, I'd like for you to react. But there's another tweet I'd like for you to take a look at. Now, someone on X picked up a video from VOP TV, really, and said people should keep retweeting until the Vice President says it, so that he can raise Peter Obi's hands. Now, this video is on the analysis of the front pages of the newspapers right here on VOP. Take a listen.
All due respect that I have within me, this house it had a chance. The chance was for Peter Obi that was flying their flag to have been supported by Atiku. Atiku refused. What? Excuse me. Because he refused, Peter Obi now left. The center has not held. Right now, again, like we say, look, let's not look at split milk. But are you saying we're not going to look at split milk when we are being confronted with the same thing right now? What is the problem that I've always been saying? Why is it tough for an Atiku to raise Peter Obi's hand? Why is it tough? Why is it tough? That is what you don't find in the other.
Take me back to the tweet that led to this video. Let's take a look at it. I want us to, take a look at it. So Bookus is the one that put up this particular tweet. And he said, a sacred truth. Kindly retweet massively till it gets to Atiku, please. Ikechukwu, let's talk about it. You had the $1 million question. Why is it difficult for Atiku Abubakar to raise Peter Obi's hands? Do you think that's going to happen this time around?
Well, it depends on, what the concession will be about, because
Peter Obi is already making concessions. That
yes,
if he's given the slot, he's going to do
just one term. So it depends. If it turns out that I'm going to do one term, and after I'm done, the next person will be Atiku, then they can actually reach a compromise on that.
But
and that
Atiku will be like how old then?
Well, it's just 4 years. It's just 4 years, and the 4 years will be this 4 years. So should Peter Obi win, of course, he's just going to wait for Peter Obi. But if he doesn't, he's still going to wait for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So whatever.
Yeah.
So he's going to see. He's going to see
yeah.
it as a very fair bargain, and that's the only ground. Again, why it's difficult to raise, his hands. Now, there's a thing called ego, right? Atiku brought Peter Obi to national politics. Peter Obi was, in the state politics. He won the Abga election, ruled as Anambra governor, but was never in the national politics. Yeah. So Atiku brought him to the national politics. So it's quite difficult for someone who's been chasing that seat.
Qualify that. He made him his running mate.
Yes. So for someone who's been chasing the office for years, before Peter Obi even dreamt to become a governor, and then overnight, boom, the person has to raise your hands. You know, it's a lot to actually take in. When you know that at that point, before the 2023 election, Atiku has huge political capital. P2B was barely seen. In fact, we had a conversation about, you know, the BDM being described as four guys sitting in a room. So if we've seen the massive pool of P2B before 2023, perhaps it would have been easy for Atiku to actually look at him as, you know, a worthy ally at that point. But
okay, so let me pick your brains a little bit. Would you say that was why it was easy for the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to raise former President Muhammadu Buhari's hands to say,
spot on.
You go,
spot on.
I will wait for you, and then I'll do my job.
That answers it, because he has seen the power, you know, the pool of former President Muhammadu Buhari all through the years he's been running in the north. And he understands that, you know what, to win an election in Nigeria, you just need about 14 million votes. And if you can give 12, I can put 2, you know, across the south. That was the calculation. And of course, that's how they actually won their election. So they both understood what was at stake. Now at this point, I think it's a case of, you know what, just 4 years, right? You say you're going to go for 4 years. All right, I had 8 million in the last election. You had 6 million, right? So if we do the math, I can actually give you this, and then we get 14 million, and we ask this government, chicken, right? So if they can actually reach that particular consensus, and then of course consensus will be easy.
Yeah, and anything is possible at this
Very
point.
possible for politicians. But then, you know, it goes back to, you know, the character of the people actually playing this ball. How much of a trust outside him being his running mate does he have in the person of Peter Obi?
That's a
These are the questions, you know, we are not privy to, because it's all about understanding what it is. Because when Peter Obi actually pulled out, when the election was about heating up, Peter Obi's strength became very visible. A lot of persons in the Atiku camp started seeing Peter Obi as a betrayer, as someone who is going to actually divide Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vote. On the other hand, Obi's camp was also seeing Atiku as a man who has been, you know, running for eternity, and you'd have just stepped back aside. Peter Obi would have won this election if you had just supported him. So back and forth blame. I think this is the time to actually solve
just yesterday said this thing about a gentleman's agreement that you don't see Peter Obi.
Politics.
You said you don't believe it. You don't trust anybody.
I don't trust politicians.
Yeah. So who knows? Probably the former vice president is thinking the same way.
Again, but it's a case of, you know, we're talking about bullies yesterday and how you know, you look at number of options you have. At this point, how many options does he have?
That's the thing.
Would you rather run alone, and then the man at the, you know, aim of affairs who controls everything, including the INEC, is going to still be the one in charge? Are you going to beat him running solo, or you rather just pitch your tent and then, you know, hopefully look at, you know, the fact that yes, I mean, there's an agreement. Let's hope you're going to honor it. You've been touted as someone who's got integrity. Let's test you, because of course, like they say, you know, you cannot trust the integrity of a poor man. Give him money and then see what he's going to do.
Wow, that's deep. I'm telling you. And you know, I asked earlier on how old would former Vice President Atiku Abubakar be 4 years after Peter Obi tenure. And I'm thinking, it doesn't even really matter, because he looks very fit.
He looks very fit.
Yeah, he doesn't look his age and all of that.
I mean, we've seen presidents, you know, in their 80s. I mean, across.
Look at former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
Yes, so,
I saw him playing football the other day.
So look
at the late Nelson Mandela.
Yes, so we can look at, you know, these things, and I mean, it's all about the person. And he's outside the fact that he looks fit, he has a very sound mind. When he speaks, you understand, like you don't have to struggle to pick his words, right?
Yeah,
he's very coordinated, articulated.
Oh my gosh.
So,
and just to know that this elderly man running a country thingy is not just in Africa alone.
No.
Take a look at the former US President Biden. Take a look at the current President Trump.
Yeah.
These are people that are in their twilight and all of that. So, hey, it happens all over. Now, I think that's a safe place for us to live.
Absolutely.
Now, as this particular hashtag unfolds, I'll keep you posted. Yeah. We'll move on to the next one, which is still political. It is hashtag Apapa. So, 6 chiefs really were dethroned in the Apapa area because they attended a Labour Party campaign event. Now, I'm going to pull up the tweet so you have, details, really, a full picture of why this happened. Now, why were they dethroned? We were told that they did this, attended this particular political event without the say-so of their boss. So, Nigeria Story says, Justin, the Ojora of Ijora and Igomu Kingdom, Oba Abdul Fatai Oyegbemi, has dethroned 6 chiefs for attending the campaign flag-off of the Labour Party at the Apapa area of Lagos State. Just for you to know that this is legit, the Vanguard has this as well. Let's take a look at the next tweet For emphasis, Vanguard newspaper says LG polls rally, Monarch suspends 6 chiefs for attending Labour Party campaign in Lagos. There's another tweet. Let's take a look at it for more emphasis. Right. Trending Explain says, Justin, 6 Lagos chiefs have been dethroned by Kabiyesi Ojora for attending Labour Party campaign flag-off event at Apapa. That's the thing. That's the reason. Without permission. Ikechukwu. This is not witch hunt, right? They were supposed to, if you take a look at the whole story, that normally before you go for stuff like this, you're supposed to take permission from your superior, and which the 6 chiefs didn't do. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, though. What's your take on this?
If they had attended an APC conversion,
did I knew you were going to ask this
an APC meeting without
a permission from the KBAC,
they will still be suspended.
Well, I don't know.
See, this is very much the time, the build up for 2027. So everybody wants to see who is in their camp, right? For all it's worth, 2023 was an eye opener. The man who beat Lagos lost Lagos, and he doesn't want that to repeat itself. These are the.
Can I tell you what a conspiracy theory is saying about that particular?
Okay.
One? That it was strategic. It was a game to say, because we know we are going to win at the center, let's give them Lagos so that they'll say this election was fair. So
even if the case of let's give them Lagos is actually true, does it negate the fact that Lagos was actually lost? No, or are we saying that, okay, yes, you won the Lagos, but would have rigged it, if we actually wanted to?
So that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah, that's very,
Remember
very...
how we talked about Senator Natasha and how, a court struck out the case
Won
against
this
her,
one and
we're
then,
like, saying, yes, you take this one, the major one is waiting
coming.
for you. Yeah.
Very well true. Again, right, this story, for freedom to come, there's certain persons that will pay the big price, right? A few days ago, I think, or weeks ago, rather, we're talking about America.
The Oba, the KBAC is an APC member or a sympathizer, an APC sympathizer.
You are in Lagos.
Yeah. I mean,
you are a chief in Lagos. You run a traditional stool in Lagos.
Something you should verify before you.
There's no way you'll be a traditional, person. You hold a traditional office or position in Lagos without being, without being a supporter of. You might be, passive, but then of course, in your heart say, okay, I don't like this party. But you must reflect. You must reflect that you are very much in tune with the government of the day. You can't for any reason be in APC, be a traditional hold a traditional office and then say you are against the party of the day. You can't do that, because there are a lot of gifts, just like we have across the states, right? There are a lot of gifts that comes with being in this position. The governor will definitely give something out, perhaps during festivity and other stuff like that. So you can't be enjoying that and say you want to actually side with other political parties. It's not possible.
All right. So how do you want this pension on to swing at the end of the day? We're wrapping this up now.
Well, the truth is this, right? Like I said, it's going to be a very bad image. If I were in the APC, I would have actually just let it slide. It shouldn't even be in the news. Forgive them. Let them be. You now know who your enemies are. I mean, the rule of
enemies is politics.
Yes, the rule of
just politics.
Come on, it's not just politics.
It is.
It's a game. It's a game that determines survival.
And they just attended the flag-off ceremony.
What are you attending the flag-off ceremony for?
That's a billion-dollar question. So let's see how this particular one is going to pan out. Yeah, like we say, I'll keep you posted. The next hashtag is hashtag Daddy Freeze. You don't know the on-air personality. So he came on board today to say that there's a video, but we're not playing it. I'm going to just give you a summation of it, and then I'll pull up the tweet for that particular one. So people, he came out to say, look, guys, I love Peter Obi as a man. He's good and all of that, but he can never forget that once upon a time, Peter Obi worked with Abacha. That's what Daddy Freeze says. In fact, let's go to X. Let me pull up this particular tweet that's going to give you a clearer picture of what I'm talking about. It is hashtag Daddy Freeze. So this one is by Yaba Left Online, and it says, they're quoting Daddy Freeze, I love Peter Obi as a person. I think he's brilliant, but I can't divorce him from the fact that he worked hand in hand with Abacha. how can we have this great leader who is a saint today but worked with Abacha? So Yaba left online, they're quoting that the phrase. Guys, if you know Abacha, the late Abacha, he was somebody that lots of Nigerians really did not really love. So when you hear the name Abacha in Nigeria,
that Google general.
oh my gosh, it sparks very bitter memories and all of that. But let's take a look at this next tweet. This person is defending Peter Obi and is saying, is it because of what? Let's just read it. Tomide Ojo says, Peter Obi explains his intervention in the Nigerian port congestion in the video below. He was never the MD of Nigerian Ports Authority during the Abacha regime. This video you're about to watch, credit goes to Object TV Media. Take a listen.
I tell you now, which I said before, is implementation. Even if the worst person had come to Nigeria who didn't know anything, and started implementing what people have been writing for 28 years, things would have changed. Just said, I was telling them a story last night about Abacha. How we went to, we were almost supposedly be arrested for not paying duty. The port was congested. Everything was. Under Abacha, you clear goods so faster than you can do today. And we did everything. So we're supposed to be under arrest because they said we didn't pay duty. We didn't do anything. So we went to Abuja to see Abacha. We were 100. They said they're going to lock us up. Only 30 agreed to see him. And when they said I should speak, I started talking. Halfway, the man banged his table and said, call I need the minister. He said, form today. What the congestion? You see this boy who is talking, which is me. Chairman, thinker. That's how I got involved in the port. And when they finished it, everybody was coming for Apaja for clearing the port. But all he did, he took decision by listening to us. That's all. If all this that I've listened to you, we won't be here talking. We would have been showing different data. So for me, it's a learning process.
So, Ikechukwu, did he work with Abacha or not based on what he just said?
He absolutely did.
He pointed out a solution to a problem and Abacha listened.
But in the end, right, in the end, you actually work with a group under this government to actually ensure that that didn't happen. That's not even the crux of this conversation as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, because I'm even saying...
Daddy Freeze is a Christian. Or he postured to be a Christian. To be a Christian. So it means that the devil is actually not a bad person, biblically, because he wants to work with God.
Oh my gosh, don't even go there.
So that's
but he fell from grace.
So
the devil
so
fell
we can
from
agree
grace.
that, his past doesn't matter. This is his present.
Who's present?
The devil's present is the most important. His past working with God does not matter.
Well, events have overtaken that.
Right. Now, this Peter Obi's event have overtaken is time with Abacha.
Oh, so I get it. Why didn't you just say it from the beginning? Yeah.
Because I was trying to actually understand what he was saying. Because I'm pretty sure that between when Peter Obi actually, worked to help, Abacha's government port congestion easy, right? And now, Daddy Freeze has offended a lot of persons that he cannot even imagine.
But let's even say, based on what Peter Obi has said, that Abacha at least did one good thing. He listened to good advice. Right? So I was going to say, remind us again, for someone who is not a Nigerian, who is watching this program, and is saying, why do Nigerians hate Abacha so much? Or why do you think that the Freeze would hate Abacha so much?
Okay, so let's be very honest with ourselves. Not just Abacha. The military government naturally, generally are actually very brutish, right? I mean, people who don't really care, they just, take your life or imprison you, unreasonable jail sentence, stuff like that.
We have the late Delegiwa, we have the Ogoni 9, we have so many things.
The Abiolas and all of these cases. All of these cases.
So it's not an Abacha thing.
Not just an Abacha thing. I mean, the Delegiwa thing didn't actually happen under the Abacha.
No, it didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the military.
There's a song. I just remember the song, but I don't want to sing it.
But
now who killed Delegiwa? But let's not even go there.
But this is exactly why people are actually very wary of. And of course, Abacha, before he became, the head of state, he was already known, right? Because, I mean, being the hencho behind the Babangida administration, he was very powerful at the point.
Yeah.
So at that point, he was calling and pulling a lot of strings.
Ironically, the former military head, IBB, Brian Badamasi Babangida, had said that it wasn't him that annulled the election that has been touted as the most democratic, it was his henchman.
That's not true.
Abacha.
I don't
let's not go down. Yeah, but
that's his story.
But it's something he said.
Yes.
Somebody said the late Abacha is not alive to defend himself.
Exactly my point. He's laying that on the feet of a dead man, and it doesn't count as far as I'm concerned.
So you're saying that the freeze shot it?
Daddy Freeze has also committed a lot of sins.
Blunder.
Yes, and he expected people to actually look beyond that and see his new person. So why is it difficult for you to? I mean, if the case were to be, he walked under Abacha, he stole, he did this, then we can have a conversation of, oh, this guy is actually not who we think he is. Jesus Christ actually dined with the sinners. How
come you're wasking holy all of a sudden? But let's let's wrap this particular one up. Last hashtag for today is hashtag Mr. P. You don't know the other half of the P Square drew. And I'm thinking, how did we get here? This is a very public, dirty fight between Mr. P and his elder brother, Jude. Why don't I just take you online as we quickly talk about this? You know, there's been this back and forth between the brothers, Mr. P, his twin brother, and their elder brother, who was once upon a time their manager. In fact, he even went to prison at some point and all of that, and he accused his brother, Mr. P, of blackmail, and that he said he was broke. So let's go on X and find out how Mr. P is responding right now. He's trending on X, and Daily Spill Niger says, they're quoting Mr. P, "Just because you are older doesn't mean you deserve respect." Mr. P tells his older brother and former manager, Jude Okoye, after Jude called him out for blackmail and going broke. Before I put up the next tweet though, Ikechukwu, their late mom, it was said, was the bond, the glue that held them together. After she passed, it looked like things began to fall apart. But how did it get this bad though? Why in public? Why did they air their dirty, linen?
I mean, before now, I was having a conversation with someone, offset, and we were talking about what can actually cause a problem, between two men that is going to be almost impossible to actually resolve. Two things: woman and money. And this,
I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So these are the two things at the center of it: money. And of course, how they actually got married, and how, and then how the family, their mother was actually trying to put them together, trying at every point to actually tell them, you know what, take it easy. Take it easy, and trying to actually put things.
But then she fell ill, she passed, and look at where we are right now. There's another tweet though, because we are beginning to wrap this up. Let's take a look at the next tweet that was, said regarding this particular one. District 411.info says, Jude called Mr. P of P Square broke, and his reply was a house tour. That's a different level of petty. Mr. P didn't say a word. He just dropped a video of his mansion with a caption, praying that this kind of brokenness. Let's go back to the tweet before the video, please. Praying that this kind of brokenness finds you too. The shade, he said, is very, very loud. Now, Ikechukwu, I need for you to take a look at what is happening here. So Jude calls Mr. P broke. But Mr. P puts a video of his mansion and saying, if this is broke, may it find you too. Now, let's take a look at this video as we talk. So basically, this is Mr. P's mansion, and this is his answer to his brother. This looks really good, yeah? Few seconds, we're wrapping this up.
CB, I'll be very honest to you, right? We both know that.
Few seconds.
Yes, we both know that.
What do you think?
Riches is relative. So if he says he's broke, perhaps from where he's standing, maybe it's going down.
You did it. Fantastic. Yeah. Now, this is where we wrap it up. We'll see you again, same time, same station, guys. And thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success. We do hope that these brothers will settle things quietly. Until I see you again, bye.